Do you have a 1970s custom vehicle that you need a drive shaft for? Do you refuse to pay thousands of dollars for a custom drive shaft? Do you have 25 years of leftover car parts from other projects? And do you have a tape measure and a small hammer? Well, you're in luck, my friend, because today we are building custom drive shafts from scrap. Come along with me and I'll show you the way to build Frankenshaft. Alright guys, I hope you liked that little intro. Just something fun to put together so that we can all have a laugh. Anyway, today we're going to build this drive shaft. I've already done all the work, so I hope you like the video. It'll be coming up next. I just wanted to give a shout out to all my members. Thank you very much. And all my new subscribers. Love to have you here. And guys, we are within shooting distance now of 1,000 subscribers. So I would love it if you guys got on board and hit the like button, subscribe, drop a comment, and I hope you liked the vid. Cheers. Alright guys, it's midweek and we're back. I'm Reese, this is my shed, so welcome to Reese's shed. So I think I've been successful with this tail shaft hunt. Sound a bit naughty. I've been out on the hunt for a tail shaft, and I think I've come up with one that's going to do the job. So this one's out of a XA, XB, XC Ute. XA, XB, XC Falcon. Not sure whether it's a Ute, wagon, sedan, whatever. But it comes in around the length that we need, which is I think 1745. I'll have to recheck that for you in just a minute. Center to center. So with any luck, we'll be able to get this thing to work for us without having to do too much cutting and welding and modifying. So I've chosen this tail shaft because bloody batteries, eh? Alright, so as I was saying, I have chosen this tail shaft because of the length, obviously, and the rear uni. I should be able to get that to work with a yoke out of an early model Falcon, which should slide into our Borg Warner diff. So just so happens the guy that I bought this tail shaft off of had an old style XB diff there, 6-cylinder one, and it's a Borg Warner 78, so I grabbed that off him as well. Got it for a steal, got the whole lot for 70 bucks. So what I was thinking about doing is I'll get this tail shaft, the front yoke pulled off, because that's not the one we want to use. We want to use a Turbo 700 yoke. So I'll pull the front one off, and I need to get the diff yoke out and change it over to the one that we actually want to use. Or I could use the flat flange type if I can manage to get that one off the Toyota shaft to fit on this one. So there's a couple of things I want to try, but I'm just going to get stuck straight into it. Can't even talk, but I haven't been sleeping. We've got a baby. We've got a newborn. It's, sleep is at a premium these days. What was I saying? So yeah, I want to just get this front yoke off first. Once I've done that, I'll have a look at getting this flange fitted to the rear. If I can't get the flange fitted to the rear of this one, I will use the diff yoke out of the other diff into our diff, and I'll mock assemble it in place, and then figure out how much length we either need or how much we need to take off. Hopefully none, and we'll get this thing buttoned up. So first things first, I'll show you the measurements of this drive shaft, and we'll start taking the front yoke off, then we'll get under there and have a closer look at what we need to do. So the way that I measure these is I go up here, basically where uni joint is, and I get my top measurement there. Just scrape some of that mud off. Alright. Because guys, to get the most accurate measurement, you want to go centre to centre. So we're on there now, on the front end of the uni. And then we're going to measure to the front end of this uni, which is 1470, pretty much 1470 on the dot. And that's what I pretty much figured I was going to need. Around there, give or take 20 mil. Basically eyeballed it. So all right, let's get this yoke off and we'll get it under the car. Ta-da! You got a bird's eye view here, guys. I'm going to get stuck into it. So these shafts, they've got cups, so 2 cups on each side of the uni, so 2 here and 2 here, and they are retained on the inside with circlips. So I'll pop one of those off now and I'll show you the circlip. Alright, there it is, guys. That's what stops your cups from falling out. So we're going to take the other one off now, and we'll get this yoke off of there. Alright guys, might be hard to see on the video, but in here, this is where your circlip is. So, support on something so you're not kneeling down on the ground. Support your yoke. Give that a little bit of a tap. And that is out of there. Now, we want to get these out of here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit here, like that, and we're going to hit here like that. And what that's going to do is going to push these cups out. So one at a time, be patient, and you'll have it apart in no time. So I'm just going to get some earplugs in and come back. There you go. Don't lose any of your little bearings there. Now, spin it over. Same again. Remember guys, we're pulling this apart so you can hit it, it's safe. Okay. Same again. Don't lose any of those. Now, it's already half off for us. So what you do is you push your yoke down like that, come out, and then up. Take your little broken bits of seals off. Okay. So that's off. Now, we're going to have a look at the other end and see if we can get this flange to fit on it. Okay. So I'm really happy that I've got that diff with that yoke on it, because these rear unis are not the same size and I don't think they're interchangeable. So if you have a look here, what have we got there? Across there we've got 85. Across there we've only got 80. So the width is off, and the method of installation is quite different as well. These are held in with circlips externally and these are internally. So I'm not sure how much of a difference that would have made. I may still take that off and see if I can get it to work on here, just for shits and giggles. I'll do that now, and then if that's not going to work, we're going to have to go and get that yoke out of the other diff and stick it into our other diff. Alright, let's get this off. So circlip here, we're going to pop that out, pop the other one out, same thing, hit here, these will pop out. Let's do it. Alright guys, with these, probably wouldn't hurt to put on some eye protection, because these can fly off and get you when you're not expecting it. So, there we go. Just wriggle them. They're in there forever. They're not going to come out easy. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Alright. That's one out. Flick him over, same again. Just loosen him up. Alright, that's two. Now, same again guys, hit here. And then hit here. It'll come off. Alright, that's one. That's two. Same again. Check it out. Push it all the way down. Tilt it back. Pull it out. Okay. Now, I'm going to measure across here. Take those caps off and measure the same place. See if they're interchangeable. I'll measure these. And we'll see what we can come up with. What do we got, guys? What do we got? Around this side. Now, what have we got? What did that say? Hang on. Oh. Let's go again. 0. 16.5. Okay. Make sure we're still zeroed. Close enough. And that says 74.5. Now, what does this one say? 0. 16.5. And what's this one? Got 0 still. What does that say? 73. 73.2. So it's not exact. Off by a millimetre. Oh man, about 1.5 millimeters. 74.6. Yeah, we're off by 1.5 millimeters. That's a long way off. So that's probably not going to work. Would have been nice though if we had have been able to get that to happen. Hey? That would have been nice. But unfortunately it's just not gonna. So, plan B. Or should we try and get that on there, guys? Hey? I'm gonna try and get that on there. Alright guys, so we're gonna reassemble this now. And I don't have a vise in this shed. I do have one, but not here. So we're gonna use the hammer, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. This is actually a pretty risky way of doing it, and it's not the way that I choose to do it. The good news with this one is that we're just mocking this thing up, making sure we can make it work. So if we lose a couple of rollers, it isn't the end of the world, but this isn't the way that I would recommend to do it, especially if you're not used to doing stuff like this. Anyway, so the method of getting this thing back together now is install your cup halfway into your flange. Then you get the drive shaft. Come in here. Okay. Now you want to sit your cup all the way down seated. The next thing to do is try to support the flange and hit your cup, because you don't want this bouncing up and down, and you don't want the rollers to fall out of your cup. So I'm going to do that now. Put my earplugs back in, or my ear protection back on, and I'm going to get that to happen. It isn't really a good way of doing it, guys, but I don't have any other options. So I'm going to support this bottom piece on a block of wood so it can't move, and I'm going to drive this in here. Okay, so you got your block of wood and you're resting your cup on here. Then you're hitting the outside here, drive this down, the cup is stationary so it can't go anywhere. Once you've got it as far as you want it, we're going to space it up a bit more. We're going to find a socket this size. I'm going to sit that under there and I'm going to hit it down further, because we want to get this centerpiece up high enough to engage with the cup for this side. So let's get a socket. Alright guys, like I say, this is really fiddly and it's not the way I'd usually want to do it. You never really want to do this way unless you absolutely have to, guys. Alright, so got that supported on the socket now. Gonna give it another whack. Get my head down here and have a look. Yeah, we're looking. Yep, get that where we want it. Okay. So, let me get this. Okay, so you can see now, this cup is a long way in, which is what we want. So now we should be able to start the other side, something like that, while we're keeping the other ones engaged. We're probably going to have to give it a little bit more first on there, and then we'll get this one in. Alright, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. We've gone too far. Didn't mean for that to happen. And now we're probably in some bother. Oh, lucky. Okay, now what? Smack it all the way through. It's all that can be done at this point. Start again. Smack it all the way through and start again. Okay, you can see why the hammer isn't the way to do this one, guys. You can see why the hammer's not the way we like to do these. Alright. Start all over again. And we're going to hit this flange down. Alright, so that's in. Now I've got to go a bit further, but not as far this time. Balancing act. Now you go further, but not too far. Okay. Centralise that. That. There we go. That's where we want it. Okay. Now. That's how far we want it in. It's a long way. But now that allows us to get this one in there. So, weight sitting down on that. And I'm going to go like that. Now, with any luck, we'll be able to get that in there without all those rollers falling out. Give it a nice little tap of encouragement. And then we're going to do the same as we did before. And just hope that this doesn't all fall apart like I expect it to. Okay, I think that did it. Yep, that definitely got us where we want to go. Alright, fully install them now. Here we go. Here we go. Getting better. So we're all the way in there. Now, a bit more. A bit more. Alright, that feels like it's definitely starting to go in further. I'll put this down here on something a bit more substantial. Yep, a bit more. Keep it going, keep it going. We're getting there now, guys, we're getting there now. Maybe go a bit further. Put this side clip in first, so that we don't go too far. These are easy, just push them in there and then pop it down like that. That's in. Now, we want to get this one in further, so we can get that in. Although, that might just go in. Look at that. Perfect. Alright. Now, the next trick. So the next trick is, we want to get those caps, spread them out up against the circlips. That way, you won't get a tight spot in your uni, and it should all work good. So give them a little tap now. Okay guys, so it's the next day and we're back out in the shed, and clearly I've been having some problems with the camera, but I think I'm on top of that now. And we're going to get stuck into this tail shaft again. So last night, when the dramas were happening with the camera, I just decided to plow ahead anyway, and I didn't get any footage of the finished drive shaft, but I can show you it now, and I can show you what I've done to get where we got to. So what we actually end up doing, we've used the XB or XC 6-cylinder shaft that was 1740mm long. I think that's how long it was from memory, which is the measurement that I took under the ute the other week when I was trying to get the right length tail shaft sorted. So we got that as a base, and then what I've ended up deciding to go along with is the EF Falcon flange mount rear uni. And what I've actually done with that, originally I thought it was going to be too narrow. Sorry, I thought the uni was too narrow and it wasn't going to work. But I didn't take into consideration that the flange type uni has a recessed mounting for the cups so that they can be retained with circlips on the outside of the cups instead of on the actual base of the cups. So what I did was I did a depth gauge reading with my verniers, and I figured out that they basically mounted in the exact same position. It's just a different style of retaining. So that's all together and safe and working. And then what I ended up doing with the front uni, I had a bunch of different yokes, slip yokes there to suit Turbo 700 and Trimatic. But they were all the wrong width, and they also had the wrong cup size. And what I had originally planned to do was use a conversion type uni joint, or I don't know what else they call them. I think they are what they are is it's a uni joint that has one size on one plane, and then on the other plane it has an alternate size. So that was how I was going to get around that. I was going to use like the uni joint that had the cup size to suit the tail shaft, and then the cup size and width to suit the uni off of a Trimatic or Turbo 700 slip yoke. But that I found was going to be a bit of a mission, and if I ever had problems down the track, I'd have a hard time getting the right uni joint in a hurry. So then I went to plan C, D, E and F and I came up with what we're at now is plan F, and I call it plan Frankenstein. So out the back, I actually was scouting around for bits and bobs for another project I've got on the go, and I found one of my old drive shafts I've been using as wheel chock. It's out of a VN VP Commodore, and the front uni looked like, or the front slip yoke looked like it would potentially work. So I did some measurements, and I found that the cup size and the width was the exact size of the Falcon shaft. So I stripped that all down. I'll show you that shaft now. So this one here, that's the one. So I ended up stripping this one down, and I pulled the uni out of it and the slip yoke. And then what I had to do was, it had been outside, sorry about the light, it had been outside for a number of years. It's always been used as a wheel chock. So as you can imagine, there was quite a lot of rust built up on the slip yoke. So I took to it with the wire brush on the angle grinder, and I was actually very surprised that it came up in excellent condition with no pitting. So I had a win there, and then I went ahead and fitted that uni joint to the Falcon shaft like the one that I did last night that I showed you. Same process, did it on the floor with a hammer and a block of wood and a socket, and I ended up managing to get it all together, and it's all good. The thing that I did actually notice as well is that the Commodore uni joint is a more substantial uni joint, so its pinions are actually a thicker diameter, which I think is a win, because the front uni is the one that takes most of the beating anyway. So basically we've ended up with the shaft that we want, and it's going to be stronger than I originally intended, and it's all going to fit, and it cost me $25. Obviously I've used bits and pieces I've had laying around, but the actual cost that it cost me when I went out to buy this XB shaft was $25 or $20, and I call that a big win. So I'll give you a look at the shaft that we've built now. I'll drag it out into the sun, have a good look at it, and then we're going to give it a good paint job. Because the way I'm looking at this is we Frankenstein something together out of 5 different drive shafts, and in the end we managed to come up with something, but this drive shaft itself has all different parts of all different shafts, but it's all amalgamated together to be something that we can use, and it actually fits perfect. So I'm going to call it the Frankenshaft, and we're going to give it a paint job to suit. And I'll show you that next. But first of all, I'll show you this shaft, and then we'll get stuck into that. Check this out. Here. We have a drive shaft in here. Check that out. And up the front here, hang on, let me get my light. Check that out, guys. That is 3/4 of an inch stick out, and there's plenty of travel there. Look at that. Drive shaft is in and done. So what I'm going to do now is I'll pull it back out and we'll give it a Frankenstein paint job. Stick around. Alright, and here it is. So we've got XA, XB, XC main section. Hello, Rogie. You want to get on camera? Hello. Alright, get out of the way. Go on. You want to play. Come on. Alright, that's enough. Go. Go on. Go. Alright. Main shaft is done. Then we've got EF, EL Falcon flange type yoke. You can see that these are retained the exact same way as they would have been from the factory. Got the right amount of stick out. I measured that, and I've measured the depth gauge here to make sure we're all good. So that's that. And then we have the VN-VP slip yoke out of Commodore, and we've also used the Commodore uni joint, which is actually a more substantial, stronger uni joint. And you can see here, the slip yoke's actually in really good condition. There's no pitting or anything. I've hit that with the grinder, with the wire wheel, and I expected it to be absolutely rotten, but I wanted to make sure I could get something to work, but now I don't even have to worry because that's fine. So that's that. So now what I want to do is I want to hit this thing with the wire buff again, basically, and give it a good clean up, and then I want to give it a paint job and get back in the car. So let's go. So guys, I've just noticed this actually has a red band on it. So I'm pretty sure that's what Ford used to identify these back in the factory. So I don't know what that means, but maybe one of you guys could look it up and let us know in the comments. Just for future reference, I guess. But hey, I'm going to get back to this and I'll come back when I'm ready to paint. Frankenshaft. There it is, guys. Frankenshaft. Alright guys, we're going to leave it there on this one. So I'm going to drop a coat of clear over this drive shaft now to preserve the artwork. And then I'm going to just leave it on these stands until next episode, because next time around we're going to be putting the torque converter in the gearbox and getting this thing running and driving. And well, if we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're doing a shed skid. If we don't get to 1,000, no skid. I really want to do one though, guys. So please, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. I'm at 149 or something subscribers. And it looks to me as though 50% of my audience doesn't subscribe. So I'd really appreciate it, guys, if you can. I'd love to get to 1,000 subscribers and do a burnout in the shed in this ute. If not, whatever. Like, I like having you guys here regardless, but I would really appreciate it. If you haven't already, like the video. And as always, guys, drop a comment down below. I reply to every comment, regardless of what it is. If it's good, bad, whatever, you guys are going to hear back from me. And I appreciate every comment that I get. So once again, Driveshaft is done. I hope you guys liked the video. I can't wait to come back and do it all again next time. And I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.